So I'm actually really excited for this guest. The New York Times has called her deathly imperious. And she just starred in Whose Holiday by Matthew Lombardi, and that just streamed on YouTube to raise money for Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. And she won an Olivier Award for Zorro. They made Zorro into a musical. She made her Broadway debut in Matilda as Mrs. Wormwood, and she was just in New York in Emojiland playing the princess. But right now, she is playing the Broadway Texter in Broadway's first digital soap opera, As the Curtain Rises, brought to you by the Broadway Podcast Network. But now, in March, you're going to be able to catch her in the Sopranos prequel, The Many Saints of Newark. So please welcome Queen Lesli Margherita. I thought that was like a makeup thing for a second. I wasn't sure.
No, it's a mug of tea.
All right. Well, then let me just be frank with you from the start. Like, I have never felt more seen by the American theater than in the moment you ripped a bong on stage.
This shit is bananas!
Like, I feel like there's a place for me now in this industry in a way there wasn't before. But
Nice.
like, for real, like, how does it feel to be jumping back into watching this play, seeing yourself be a part of it?
It's weird. I don't remember doing it. Like I kind of blocked it out, not because I didn't love it, because I loved it, but it was so stressful. Like doing a one-person show is the most frightening thing I've ever done in my life. So, and doing one in rhyme. So I like, once they pushed me, it literally would push me on stage. I freaked out every night. I was just like so in it that once it was over, I kind of forgot about it.
That's honestly the way it should be, though, right? I feel like all the nerds like drive you in a way. And I remember when I was first put in charge of like a play of people, I'm like only 25 years old, but like I was 22 leading a company of people that had been acting for like 25 years. And they were like, it's on you now. Happy first preview. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah,
I have
it's
to
a
follow.
lot. Yeah, it was a lot. And so the good thing is though, I can't watch myself in anything. And so this though, I had to watch before I agreed to like not let them, but before when they decided they wanted to stream it, I had to watch the cut of it because I had never seen any footage.
Sure.
And the good thing is that I didn't remember, it was kind of like watching somebody else do it because I didn't remember.
Right, because it's a different part of your life. I feel like as actors, like every year is just so much different.
I will say though, in regards to the bong, I don't smoke, so they had to teach me. I'm not going to say who taught me, but I had a lesson on how to use a bong.
Dude, we have some mutual friends, and I could speculate as to who that person was, and I'm like almost 100% certain I've hit that person's bong, but I'm not even gonna go there. We're not even gonna put names out there.
Yeah,
but
I had a lesson. That's like, I'm so embarrassed to say.
What is the biggest misconception about smoking a bong right before you hit it? Curious for you.
I have no idea. Literally, like, what I didn't understand was, and like, I don't do, because I'm nuts enough. Like, so drugs to me, like, although maybe like smoking would calm me down. But like, I guess for me, I didn't understand. Oh, let me turn off my mail. I didn't understand that like, you had to light it and suck in at the same time. I didn't underend. I thought you like lit it like a
it's just like a joint. It would just happen for you. Magic.
Yeah. So that was it. And I didn't understand like the water part. It was a whole thing. It was a whole thing. Yeah. But you know, now I can do it on a stage. So
I'm so proud of you, and maybe off the stage someday. Who knows?
Probably not.
I understand though, like why you probably wouldn't need to do anything like that, because you are a lunatic. You are out of your mind, and like I think the Broadway community would be really angry at the person who got you tamed in any way, shape, or form. And yeah, I would be upset. I would be upset. Were you like a producer on this? Because you were talking before about like getting the approve. How did you get that authority over getting it approved?
It was in my, I have really great agents, great managers, and like
Okay.
great lawyer. So
Got
usually like it's pretty standard. It's in like any kind of equity contract. They're not allowed to film it, without your permission. They can film B-roll for commercials and stuff, blah, blah, blah. But when they are going to air something, they have to get your permission as part of equity's agreement. So, and the writer, Matthew, was kind enough to ask me if I wanted to see the cut that they had done. And I was like, yeah, okay. So, I mean, I was always going to say yes, because
for sure.
I do anything that BCEFA is involved in, I'm there 100%. So
yeah, I see that, because like, let me tell you, Kara, our producer, Kara Christian, who's backstage right now, and we have been doing research on you for the past 24 hours. And I just got a Roku TV for Hanukkah. So shout out to my parents for that. But
Please.
I put in your name and I just kept fucking going for days. There is a manifesto worth of footage of you on YouTube. It is mesmerizing. And your speech at Matilda for Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS is the best speech I've heard. Like, in that, come March or April, go see a Broadway show when Lesli Margherita is in it, because you're gonna want to hear
always have to do it. Like, I volunteer, and I get bummed out when I have to split it, like during the run with somebody. But yeah, I always ask to do it. And that Matilda's was so fun because the kids got involved, and it was just, it's such a big thing to ask an audience who's already been there for 2.5 hours to sit for like 15 more minutes. So if you can make it a little more entertaining. And Christopher Sieber did it with me, and it's the best. So yeah, anything I can do for BCEFA, whether that's the speech or Broadway Bears, or I'm there for. So I was always going to say yes. But no, I was not a producer on it at all. I got offered the show and read the script, and yeah, only had approval because of good old union rules.
Yes, union rules. They do protect you. I will say that I'm a non-union actor, and I am not reaping the benefits.
Yeah, I was too. At one point. Yeah, they really do.
When did you get your union card?
I got my union card from working at Disney. When I was doing the shows at Disneyland, back then in the day, you got points. They used to do like a point system. And so I got points for that, and then I was cast in a tour of a chorus line when I was in college. And so I got it. I had points accrued, and I don't think they do that anymore. I'm not sure, but yeah, back in the Stone Ages, they had points.
Yeah, we got to talk about that, because I did not see that in your About the Artist page. Who were you in a chorus line? I could speculate, but I won't.
Who would you think I would be?
I think you would either be 18. Judy Turner or Val.
No, I was Morales.
You were Morales?
Yeah, at 18. Yeah, I was Morales.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
I loved it. Yeah, I loved it.
She's the heart of that show too.
Now I'd want to be like Val. Judy's
Yeah, just with your persona, like, there are just a lot of
now. I would be a Sheila. If I was taller.
I mean, you could play any of those fucking characters. That was like a landmark show for me when I was like 14 years old. Yeah, some irresponsible community theater person was having all these teenagers doing a chorus line. There were like 4 different casts. So just all these 13-year-olds being like, "What's Milky Discharge?"
Wow. There is a school version, because I've had friends that have done it, and tits and ass is like boobs and butt. There's like
this
different
and that.
versions. Yeah, this and that. Yeah.
We did not do that. We moved forward. We kept powering through it. I love that show. Going back to Whose Holiday, I am curious how you initially got involved.
It's so funny. I was in Virginia shooting Homeland, and I got a call from my manager, and he was like, there's this one-woman show that you're being offered, and Matthew Lombardo wrote it, and I knew Matthew because I had seen Looped, and I knew like he wrote these amazing one-woman shows for women, one-person shows for women, and all my agent said was, "I'm sending it to you, but it's a grown-up Cindy Lou Who," and I was like, "What?"
So where was I? Oh yeah, the first time I got laid. And if you think black men are hung, honey, try going Jade. When he first took it out, I almost ran away, because that thing between his legs grew 3 sizes that day.
And I was like, and I'm being offered this? I'm sure like multiple people had turned it down by that point. But like, as soon as I read it, I was in. I read it immediately in my hotel room, and I remember exactly where I was sitting, and I was about 10 pages in, and I called my agent. I was like, take it. I don't care. I love it. I love it. It was brilliant. It was so funny. It was like, it's everything that you want in a one-person show. I got to be funny. I also got to be really sad, heartbreaking, and got to sing, and I got to rap. Like, it was everything in one,
You could tell little Lesli Margherita that she'd be rapping in the West Side Theater. Like, you would not.
Knew. Yeah, there were some people, though, I would look out because that theater's small, and you could see, like, half the audience. During that rap, people would be like, some weren't on board.
No, but I understand why it felt like at the time, we were investing in hip hop commercially on Broadway, and I
absolutely.
get it.
And that was the thing, is we were making fun of that, and it was supposed to be we were ripping off Hamilton, and I even start with I'm not giving away my shot, like, so I didn't understand. I was like, come on, you gotta get it, like, people just weren't in on it, but what else? But yeah, I was totally lucky that that Carl Andrus, the director, and Matthew Lombardo, who wrote it, thought of me at all. So I had worked with Carl, director, a couple times before that. Wow. So
what'd you work with him on?
We did quite a few workshops, and we had just done a benefit reading of this hysterical kind of it was called Hollywood Nurses, and it was like a 60s kind of almost like I don't know how to describe it. Anyway, overly dramatic, very funny, kind of soap opera-y. I think it was a benefit, and it was me and Kathleen Turner and Rosie O'Donnell. And Taylor Louderman did it. Max von Essen did it. And Geneva Carr was in it. It was this crazy cast.
Geneva Carr. We love Geneva Carr. We love her, and to God.
She's the best. So I had worked with Carl on that just right before all this. So when I guess my name came up, he was the one who really kind of pushed for me to get it, and I'm so happy that they did.
Oh yeah, man. I'm happy. I'm happy you did too, and it makes sense too, that you would be the perfect person for this, because so much of what you've done is like, I mean, even your Broadway debut, and I'll be honest, like, I took a departure from like watching musical theater for a while, like after I graduated, when my college education was very based in like creating like plays and all that, but I grew up loving 3 things, which are like basically the cornerstones of our conversation. I grew up loving like showbiz musicals.
Right.
I grew up loving like 3 p.m. soap operas. And I've always had these like dreams of plays that were like comedic adaptations of like children's plays. So like I've always wanted to see that like therapy session about Disney princesses.
Right.
Or,
yeah. No, well, there you go. That's exactly what this was.
Yeah, exactly. So getting to talk to you about all this is like it's pretty wonderful. And what did you like gain from this show? Like while it was going on, how long did you do it for, and what did you gain from it?
I think we only ran 6 weeks, holiday season. What I gained from it is that I could do anything. Like it was really, really difficult. I had never done a one-person show. And I really doubted myself, and it was really, really difficult to like just get the courage to do that every night. So after that, I really got the sense of like, if I can do that, I can do anything. So and that's really stuck with me, where I was like, nothing's going to be harder than that, than to keep an audience like all by yourself. There's nothing harder than that. So anybody who does a one-person show, I'm like, I bow down to, because they're really, really hard. So
And
yeah,
what I love about it, what I love so much about this specific show is that like, and I didn't know Matthew wrote other shows, solo shows for women, but a big conversation I've been having with a lot of my friends who are actresses is that men really don't know how to write women. They never have. And like when you get that piece that's like so truthful and gives you flexibility without being perverse or objectifying in a crazy way, it's a gem. So I'm curious, like what I guess there's no real question there, but like what did that give you to see that like a man can actually like serve the text for a woman?
I mean, I've been really lucky. I've had a lot of male playwrights that are tapped into that. I've been on both sides of it.
Sure.
I mean, I think what was so genius about Cindy Lou Who is kind of what I was saying before is everybody goes in expecting me to be like, crazy, and expecting the character to be crazy and blah, blah, blah. But then halfway through, people are like, their heart's torn out, and she's dealing with real things. And so many people have reached out while this is happening, that it's really touched them this year. And I think at the core of it, whether it's male, female, whatever you identify with, it's just the themes that everybody goes through. And I think, luckily Cindy Lou Who is a fictional character. So, it's difficult. I think I'm always very big mouthed and honest with writers about how I think women are portrayed, or if there's something that like rubs me the wrong way. I'm usually really like would love to have a dialogue with people, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I mean, it's hard. The whole everything's tricky these days. Everything.
Sure. Even saying the right things in the verbiage.
Literally, everything is tricky, and it's really tricky for comedy. So and that has nothing to do with being a man or a woman. It just is. There's landmines everywhere. So I'm just going to blanket statement saying it's a difficult time to find roles that tick all the boxes in general.
It's a fucking tightrope. It's easy to say. And our community, I am like out of the 4 people in my household, I am the one who they're like a snowflake. But
right?
Like I'm the one who like sees that in my community. And I like sometimes have to be like, we have to let these things, we don't want to hurt people. We're not out here to hurt people, but like we have to take risks, because if we don't take risks, then like we're living in a fascist state a little
and
bit.
That was such a great thing too about Whose Holiday, and obviously we filmed it before this year. We filmed it like 2 years ago or something, but she goes there and then is like, well, if you don't like it, leave, that's fine. It's such a like there was something freeing about being her.
Yeah, I could totally see that. And
I'm a little bit like that in my own life, but I have more boundaries.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, you have to, as you get up there, you have to protect yourself more and more a little bit. Again, just like a crazy thing, like how we're talking, you're also just very grateful. One thing you talked about is like gratitude, and like to young people, they should have gratitude. So like, I will say that here. I am very grateful. You took a huge risk on like, honestly, damn, I like could have been a real piece of shit, but I don't think I am. I could be, but I don't think I am.
No, never.
But what I love about how it relates to today is that like I see it in 3 different ways. Obviously, you're coping with solitude, and you're dealing with the hand that life deals you. You're dealing with making mistakes and building community in new ways. That's fucking 2020 in like so many ways.
100%. Yeah. And I love that she like has a breakdown, but then picks herself up, and it's going to be okay. So, I mean, that's me every day.
Oh yeah. And on that, when after we first made contact, I saw a post that you made that actually like really touched me because I drive myself crazy with my self-tapes. I'm sure you do too. And we can be really hard on ourselves. And like I'm sure since since the past 7 years of you making your debut in a role that big, a lot's been thrown at you. So I'm curious, like how do you keep your sanity in that day? You know, let's say you have a day to film a self-tape. Like to other people listening, what do you focus on? What do you narrow in on when you're freaking out?
I mean, you know, for me, it's kind of House of Cards, and this video that I made on Instagram was a total accident. I was doing a self-tape, and my best friend was on the other side of it on FaceTime reading the lines with me, and I wasn't getting it. Like it wasn't coming across the way I wanted it to. And it was also like frustration of, you know, usually when actors audition, you're in front of somebody that can give you some feedback right away, whether that's a no or good job. You know, it's just feedback. In this situation, we're all sending out tapes to the ether, and there's just, maybe you'll get feedback, but it's just not immediate. So it was really frustration of working so hard putting out these tapes and getting nothing back, which is part of my job. But sometimes it just, you know, I try to be very positive and like you said, grateful that I even have these opportunities to audition for things. But it was definitely a moment of, and you know, it's so funny, like you see me realize the camera's on, because I just broke down in the middle of a take talking to my friend, and she's like, you know what you're doing is good. You know this. And I was like, I know. It's just like, for me, the reason I posted it was I love social media, but I find it really, really difficult, especially for young people, because I know that I did it today. I'm scrolling through and you see people being like, just booked this, just got this, working on this, cat's out of the bag. And you're like, I'm sitting in my sweats, you know, it really makes you go crazy. But what people don't realize, or you know, I have to remind myself, it's not always how it looks.
Yep.
You know, like
that's the thing about social media too. Social media is never how it looks. Ari Offstar, who she just came on here. She's writing a musical. She was in Hamilton in Chicago, and one of the things she said was that when she was on American Idol, when she was like 16 years old, nobody realizes that success comes with pain. Pain comes with success, and that there can be so many great things you can post about in your life, that is one mirror, and it's not even the actual mirror. It is just.
So I like to show both. I like to show the crap side of it, and the icing, which is the job, you know, like, so I think it's important to kind of show all of that. I think it's important to say I really, you know, was shit at this audition. I don't, you know, what's wrong? There's nothing wrong with that. So I don't know. I've always been very careful to kind of show everything, because I think it's really hard. It's really hard. It can really mess up your like mental health.
It sure can. Because we have the career that we chose has no ground. There is no ground. Like, we have to be the ground for ourselves. Yeah. There's no 401k plan. I mean, maybe when you get a certain position or something, or if you're like a Warner Brothers player or some shit, but like, not if you're let alone if you're non-union. It can be bleak out there, but people have to realize that there's different ways to measure success. And when one person is like, you're really doing something, somebody's told me that shit lately, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm freaking out. I am in my room. I'm living with my family, and I'm 25 years old. I am nowhere. And it's not true, man. Everybody has their own way of looking at things, and it can fix up.
Totally. And, you know, social media is I'll be the first one to be like, yeah, I post a pretty picture of myself so that makes me feel good about myself and feel something to avoid. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what everybody does. It's not, hey, everybody, I just wanted you to know I got this job. It's, oh, look at me, I got a job. That's what social media is. If you know that, then.
Yeah. I call it the I am pleased to announce.
It is. I like cats out of the bag is my favorite. Cats out of the bag. And one of my friends, every time somebody puts that on social media, one of my friends always texts me, is like, oh my God, I hope they find that cat. It's devastating that it got out of the bag. It's I mean, it just never gets old, that joke, all the time.
So that's fucking amazing. You know, I think the last time
signs for the cat.
God, it's run away. It's down the block. No. I think the only time I've seen you on stage is in Emojiland. That's it. And
good one to see, though. I love it.
Oh God, it was the most wild play I've ever seen. On that block. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. You and Josh Lamon, who
that cast was stacked. That was like the most number of heavy fucking hitters in one cast I had ever seen, and I'm so proud of that show. It you know, I know what everybody thought. Everyone went Emojiland. Well, fuck off. Like, it was so smart, so well done, and you won't find better performers doing the show. And like the creative team made it, like, from direction to choreography to that set, those projections, the costumes, like it was, I loved it so much. And I hope it comes back in any form, because it was the most fun I've had for forever.
And you don't get to see, it's not very often, you know, not everybody's Lin-Manuel Miranda. You don't get to see like a composer bring their own thing to fruition, bring it to 42nd Street and get a cast like that.
Totally. And I had been with it, Josh and I had been with it since the Nymph Festival a couple years before. So we did like the Nymph version and loved it then. And then so when Tom, the director who I adore, said it's coming off Broadway, I was like, I'm in. Like, it didn't even, there was no hesitation. It was the most fun, and I got to look like Lady Gaga and come down like a 15-foot stripper pole. Like, what is there not to love? It was a blast, such a blast. And I have Josh Lamon. Like, I was crying every night laughing on stage, just breaking all the time, because how can you not?
He is also, if I can just speak on Josh Lamon, he was the first person to do this podcast when I created it. He was like, I got you. And I went to him for like one coaching session, and we became like tight, because he saw himself, I think, in me in like a way. And like at the time I was also like, funny enough, a year ago, like I got this thing called, have you heard of this? Bariatric surgery. Yeah. I got a thing called a gastric sleeve. And
how much have you lost?
Lost like 100 pounds at this point.
Oh my God, that's fucking amazing.
Thank you. And it's a year ago, like today or tomorrow. I think tomorrow.
How do you feel?
I mean, I feel fucking incredible, obviously, but I guess it completely changed my whole like idea of who I was and what goals I had for myself. And as a young person in this industry too, I mean, the way you look at yourself, it can define so much about what you do.
And he's one of the most amazing people for that. And we would have talks about it, and I don't want to speak for him, but we would have talks about, ways that he would make fun of himself, and I'd be like, you don't have to do that, and he'd be like, well, you kind of have to, otherwise, so that you
have to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Like for yourself, not for, and you could say it's for the other people, but ultimately it's for, and I understand where that comes from. That's not even really too much of a toxic thing. really it's just a way it's a survival complex,
Yeah.
and the world sort of puts it on us
Yeah,
to kind of
totally.
do stuff like that. But
he's somebody
ultimately,
who, you know, we always bond because in our industry, everyone's going to put you in a box and they want to keep you in that little box. Even if it's not the box that you came in, they're just going to put you in a box. And Josh is one of those people that can do everything, but no one's going to give him it's really hard for people to give him a shot to do something different, or I think the world of him, and I think he's just one of the most talented people.
And what Josh actually told me is like, as I had started to lose like some weight, not like all, I had been like the beginning to middle, and he was sort of saying like, well, you don't have to define yourself by your weight, which that part I knew. And he was like, I've worked at every fucking size I ever was, because people like him know who he is, and that he's not defined by that shit.
Yeah.
And it shows that like if you carve a place for yourself in this industry, you'll always be safe. You'll always be safe by it.
Yeah, he totally has. He's 100%, and he's right.
Talk about these cast albums you were listening to growing up. Who were your influences? That is what has been bugging me for the past like.
Oh man,
who are your people? Who are those people?
Well, I mean, early on, it was the norms. It was Liza and Judy and Barbara. But as I got older, Cheetah for sure, because I knew I wanted to be a triple threat. I looked to her, BB Newirth, and Reinking, all of these women that were true triple threats, that literally could do a monologue as well as they could sing a song, or true triple threats.
Yes.
So Cheetah was huge for me. Rita Moreno was huge. And then as I got a little bit older, I was obsessed with Donna Murphy. I'm still obsessed with Donna Murphy. I saw her in The King and I remember turning to my mom and I was like, she's a belter and she's playing Anna. I was like, I couldn't believe it. And she was so good. And I'm still obsessed with her to this day. Those are Leslie Ann Warren is a huge one for me. Obviously, Bette Midler was huge influence for me.
That I could tell. That you didn't even need to say that. I have Bette Midler.
Carol Burnett, those women, like the funny Madeline Kahn is a huge one still for me. So all those women that were really like offbeat, but really like their own people. So all those women.
Speak on Anne Reinking for a second.
I wish I had met her. I was telling my husband last night. I never got a chance to work with her or meet her, but obviously as a kid, I was like, oh, that's the lady from Annie. She was amazing. I love All That Jazz. It's my favorite movie musical of all time.
Oh yeah.
So, and that's a prime example of her acting in that movie. She is probably one of my favorite line readings of all time in that movie, and she is so good. They don't make them like that, and
they don't. And people, it's harder to pave yourself out the way that she has. Like, I think the moment that speaks out to me from my childhood is also Annie, and just that whole like 5-minute sequence where it's like, here comes Annie.
Totally.
That's like one of a distinct memory I have of my childhood being like, oh man, it would be so cool to do that one day. And obviously like the opening of like All That Jazz and that the revival, she like redefined her career, and she got so much shit for so many years. I feel like with that whole complex, she had a whole chip on her shoulder, and she still managed to come out like a fucking queen, yo.
Yeah, I love her. It was so sad, but I didn't know. I didn't get to work with her. I have so many friends that posted like amazing anecdotes of what times they worked with her, and I just really like. Yeah, I saw her from afar once, and I was so starstruck. When I was in college, Fosse was happening in Los Angeles, like the out-of-town tryout, and it was 3 acts then. And another woman that I idolized, her name is Valerie Pettiford, was the lead of Fosse. And I had worked with Valerie on a television series, and so Valerie would help like get me in to see Fosse all the time, and I would watch it because I would just, every performer in that was like unreal. And so I remember seeing her there and I was like, just, yeah, I know.
Wow. That's mesmerizing.
But what a legacy to leave, right?
Oh,
Like,
are you kidding me? Yeah, she has absolutely paved the way for like for women to walk into that room and like build their vision and still be at the forefront of it too.
totally.
I mean, that kind of speaks to what you're fucking doing, doesn't it?
I hope. Trying.
I want to also talk about As the Curtain Rises. All right. I am like 4 episodes into this. Can you let's talk about this because there is some weird parallel universe going on with like producing commercial theater for Avatar the musical. That is sort of the plot of this, but like the commercial producers think it's the wrong one, or they think it's the movie, but really they're making it about like, you know, avatars on like social media. And I feel like in response to like Ratatouille the musical right now, it's fascinating to see like this.
Is that a real thing? Ratatouille?
Yeah, dude. I think it's pretty fucking real now. The Actors Fund is doing
just like a TikTok thing that Andrew Feldman did.
Oh, dude, wait. I get to catch you up on this? Fuck yes. Okay. The Actors Fund is producing a whole night version of Ratatouille the musical. And it's like being sort of marketed like it's on Broadway. And
cute. That's great.
Yeah. And it's funny because you see like there's, you know who Jeremy O'Harris is? He wrote Slave Play, and he's on TikTok one week being like, Disney's never going to let you guys do this. They're going to take it all from you. And I was like, I completely agree. The next week, he's like, I'm proud to announce I'm the executive producer of Ratatouille the musical.
Amazing. Oh, cute.
Yeah.
Cute.
Yeah. It's definitely a whole lot that the theater community is wrapping themselves around right now. But there's a lot of changes going on right now.
Who cares? It's going to make money for the Actors Fund. That's rad.
Oh, God. Yeah, and think about all those fucking TikTokers that with all those likes, they're all going to tune in and actually like put their money on.
Yeah, it's good.
It's gonna be
good.
crazy. I'm interested. I'm curious, but you know, fucking know.
I'll watch it. I'll love it.
Yeah. I'll watch it. I'll stand it. Tell me how you got involved with As the Curtain Rises.
They just reached out. I knew I had done a bunch of stuff for Broadway Podcast Network, like Josh's podcast, and that's who was producing this soap opera. And at first they reached out to me and they were like, would you be Lesli, could Lesli Margherita be the Broadway edition? I was like, well, I don't want to be me. So could I be like a character? So then they made it that, they just told me the plot. I thought it was super funny. And the fact, honestly, what sold me was that I got to Zoom with like all of my friends that are in it when we record it. So that was like the selling point, to see all my friends. But I think it's super funny. I think it's super inside, like the people that they get to be on it from all walks of their life. I think it's really, really funny, and kind of the first like theater soap that they've done.
Absolutely. This is like the shit I've been dreaming of since I was like 12 years old.
It's too bad we couldn't do it like acted out live, you know. It's too bad it's just like a
Well, I mean, that's why like I get, you know, the woman who's writing it, Dory, she's a huge Broadway producer. She wrote The Prom and or she wrote The Prom. She produced The Prom and like has produced other musicals. Yeah. But she's helming this. And I know this happens during quarantine, but like what theater's going through right now is that there's a lot of planning. We're in a purgatory almost. So I do feel like there is an opportunity to like at least grow this if that's something that's feasible. So I think it lays groundwork in some way.
Yeah, I just did some stuff for a new season, so I know that they're gonna keep it going. But
season 2, let's fucking go. Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
One of the other things I wanted to ask you about is the Many Saints of Newark. I didn't even realize you were in this. And then I was like, no fucking way. Talk to me about this. What happened? You auditioned for this or?
I can't talk a ton about it because they'd whack me.
Okay, of course.
I guess it's okay that I talk about it now. I don't know. We'll find out. It's the Sopranos prequel movie. I am Italian. Love the Sopranos. So when I found out they were doing a prequel, I was like, I have to be in this. Auditioned a bunch, ended up getting cast, and I just finished it. I went back to New York for a couple of weeks and finished it, and it's out in March. I can't even tell you who I play.
That's fine. That's
it's
fine.
Really all I can tell you. It's really, but I just saw some of the film. I did dialogue dubbing last week, and so I just saw parts of it. It's gonna be really, really amazing. It's gonna be amazing. Yeah, I'm really excited.
We love ADR, man, and
yeah.
Honestly, the Sopranos.
They sent my house, which was awesome.
That's incredible. That's the best.
They sent it to my house. My dog was right there. It was amazing.
I honestly, there's a part of me that is happy that I wasn't at a crossroads in my life when this pandemic happened. I wasn't 18 years old or I wasn't 22 years old. But there's another part of me that is if I was 12 years old or 11 and I didn't have to wake up for school every day, all I had to do was get out of bed and go in front of my computer and put a cutout of myself, which I have for my bar mitzvah. So it actually could have been a lot more sustainable of a plan when I was younger. Right. But yeah, I feel like I would have thrived at this.
Weird. The whole thing is weird. Yeah, it's bizarre. I'm optimistic that it's the beginning of the end, but I don't know how our business is gonna rebound yet. So we'll see.
Yeah. The restaurant industry is in New York is just really suffering right now. I hung out with my friend the other day and she lost her job, and she was telling me 2 months ago, it's when you get back over here, being a waiter honestly, you're gonna make the most money in the least amount of time, and it's the best thing for an actor to do. And I'm like, I buy that. Absolutely. But now it's not even sustainable.
Yeah, I mean, crazy. It's really hard. Most people have scattered. Yeah, it's just weird. It's weird, and doing readings online over Zoom of things that maybe will happen when theater comes back, is helps, but it's not the same. It's I shot something that's coming out in January. I can't even tell you what it is, but it was on stage singing with a cast, and I cried singing on a stage because you just miss actually being able to stand on a stage. And
you made this during the pandemic? There were COVID guidelines and shit?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And singing these amazing songs, and it just you take it for granted, So
yes.
I don't know. I have tons of friends in London who went back for a week, and then yesterday found out they're being pulled again. So it's hard. I know Broadway won't come back until it's absolutely ready, which I think is smart.
Yeah. London is a little closer, at least. They are really opening. They do open things up, and I don't think it.
But then they just
when I say that, it just got cut again. My God. Yeah, but for a couple of months, they were
we're in. Everybody's talking about Jamie for they went back for a week, 4 shows, 4 shows, and then they pulled again. Yeah, so it's hard. 6 was trying to come back over there, and it just.
Yo, 6 is they are really working hard to keep that shit alive. This is the third since March attempt that they've made, that they are really pushing. Yeah. And honestly,
it's so funny. I saw it years ago. One of my friends from London was in the original cast, and I was like, oh my God, this show's genius, great, so cute. And then it came over here, and kids are going nuts over it, and I was like, I remember this little show that I saw in London was
That's crazy.
Right. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
probably
I
how
would,
people felt about Be More Chill too. Those like random effects of like audiences, like there's some kids listening to this in
right.
Tokyo.
Yeah. You just never know. Yeah.
Obviously, since June, there's like a lot of changes that have been happening to the theater and our practices, our model, and the questioning of like hierarchies in theater. And I'm curious, I guess, like how you've responded to that yourself and how it's affected and changed the way you think, because it's definitely changed the way I've thought about everything with the theater.
You know, I think it's different when you're a woman. I think
Mm-hmm.
my first reaction was, I get it. Um, I think it's something that has been long time coming. Like for me, I don't understand, just hire the best person for the job. So whether that is black, white, male, female, hire the best person for the job.
That's it.
Just
Yeah.
doesn't seem to happen. Coming from it at any angle. So, and I don't, be careful how this comes out.
Sure.
I don't think that excluding any group is helping either. I think it is hire the best person.
Absolutely.
That makes sense.
No, I hear exactly what you're saying, because we need allies, and we also need people to be like self-aware, but we also need to amplify. There's a lot of like
Yeah.
actionable things that people can do. But I think the best thing that people can do is just like listen and like instead of promising to grow, like,
do something about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you know, I see it changing already.
Mhm.
On my side, at least. But like I say about being a woman, identifying as a woman, it just that needed to change too.
Absolutely.
I'd be in front of all male white creative teams, and you're like, oh, kind of what we were saying before, like a male playwright writing for, where are the female playwright, and so when I work for female directors or choreographers or producers, like it's always fascinating to me and really picking their brain about how they got there. But it's just people just gotta take chances, and people gotta open their mind. So I think it's definitely on the right track. It had to happen. All of this had to happen. I'm really happy people spoke up.
Yeah.
It was weird, like I'm like a white lady. I hate lady. It makes me sound old. A white girl, but it's difficult for me to make any statement on it. I don't know. I'm part of what.
We're all part of the cog in a way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I understand. I understand what you're saying.
So I didn't really know, and I reached out to some people and felt weird doing that to friends of mine, being like, what do I do? And I'm like, be you and be supportive, and that's all really we can do. Yeah, just like that goes along with hire the best person for the job. It doesn't matter what color, gender, like I just didn't, that makes me angry.
And what it speaks to is like what you were saying, it's stuff behind the table primarily, and the gatekeepers, and it's the fact that the gatekeepers are like these like really just old, like really well, not to say old people don't know, but like old white perspectives and old white gatekeepers.
It's lazy casting. It's let's use the same old 5 white people. It's just lazy. Like find something new. Do something different. And honestly, I find West End theaters has been so much more open about all of that from the get-go.
I've heard that as well. They've been at the forefront.
And London for real. And I've only been doing, lived in New York for 7 years, but I did London first, and I found it was so inclusive and so diverse and cool, just out of the box, cool. So we're just catching up.
Yeah. I might head over there myself for a while, but like obviously, I mean, I think the difference though is that like you people brought you over there maybe is
Yeah.
that yeah, people gave you the torch. I have a sister over there who's studying
Ah!
neuroscience and child development with like Simon Baron Cohen, who is Sacha
Wow.
Baron Cohen's cousin or whatever the fuck. And I keep seeing the culture of theater making over there and even Edinburgh, and I'm just fascinated. It's what does London have to offer if like you've been in New York your whole life?
I mean, I it's my favorite city, and as far as artistic, it goes along with saying like how diverse and how like even like the creative team for Matilda are just, they're so out of the box and cuckoo. They're not afraid to try stuff. And I understand that Broadway, because it's such a business and it's so expensive, you can't take a lot of risks. Where they can in the West End, it's less expensive to produce things. What I loved about London is there is no television star, movie star starring in this West End show. Everybody's the same. Theater, television, film, everybody's just an actor. Like my dressing room, I would look across and in the theater next to me was Ian McKellen. Like it just, like, there is no barrier. You know what I mean? Like there is no like.
Yeah, because they actually believe in there's actually like more of an apprenticeship complex than like a hierarchy. I think
that's exactly perfect way to put it. There is no hierarchy. It is just everybody works. It doesn't matter where you work as an actor, you work. And it just was so incredibly freeing to me, and I just love
and
it.
they must love Americans in that city, right? Do you like feel a little special?
They used to make fun of me all the time. My cast would be like, "Oh my God, let's do Zorro." Oh my God. Like that was their horrible. And I get like, I'm a California girl. I live in LA. I have like a little bit of a Valley girl thing, but they would just like make fun of me so much. And it was like, I loved it. Yeah. I don't know. I was just back there just before the shutdown, doing a concert, and I just was like,
yes, a reunion, right? The Zorro 10-year reunion.
Yeah, they did a reunion concert, which was awesome.
Oh.
And so I was like, I had made plans to come back, and hopefully I'll get back there soon I would love to do another show there.
Oh yeah. All right. Very, very last question. Do you have a New Year's resolution?
No.
Good.
I don't. Usually my resolution is to not make resolutions. I never have them, and I'm not this year because I'm not looking at it as a new year. I'm just going transition phase.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I'm not having any resolutions, because I always find that resolutions are like, so then you have like 3 more weeks to booze it up or whatever you want to do. Like it just doesn't, like, if you want to change something, do it now, do it today.
Gotta fucking change it. Yeah, even it's funny because like I had already started, my surgery had already happened in like mid-December last year. Yeah. So it was like, when I thought about that question to myself, I was like, I don't need a fucking resolution. No! I'm like, this is a big investment I've made in my life.
Oh my God, it's amazing that you made that in yourself. Yeah, I always find that. I'm like, people that make resolutions, I'm like, well, why aren't you doing that now? If you're like resolving to write or something, I'm like, well, just get a piece of paper out and start writing.
Just fucking do it.
Just do it. Do it. Do or do not. There is no try.
Exactly. Yeah. Look at that. Yo, this was an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you for doing it. I'm so excited about your journey.
Oh, thank you.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's rad.
It's definitely like even clothes too.
Oh my God, I bet.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've really found my style, and like found fashion to be something like really freeing in a way, and like finding what colors and like what texture you want.
Awesome. It's all awesome. And also just for your health. Like it's awesome.
Yeah. And for like my peace of mind too. It's just like another thing to just free myself of any like preconceived version
Yeah.
of who I was, and unburdening yourself.
Yeah.
It's like,
And you're the same person. It's just how, it's just,
I really am. It's like really funny because I also have learned what people in my life I can look at the same, based on like who looks at me different.
totally.
Dude, that is a crazy thing.
Sure,
That
you
is
had
so
to
fun.
shed people as well as pounds. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes, I like that.
yeah. I'm
That's
a
exact-
big proponent of, if there's somebody crappy in your life, it's gotta go. Gotta go.
Oh yeah, indubitably.
Yeah.
On
I love that word.
thank you again for coming. I really appreciate
Oh my
it.
God. Are you kidding? Of course.
You can check
it.
out Lesli Margherita on the Broadway Podcast Network as the curtain rises, and you can check her out in the Many Saints of Newark, which is now coming to HBOMAX.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Don't even have to go
yeah.
anywhere.
I know. What else? I don't know when it's coming out. I've got a sitcom called The Crew on Netflix that's coming out in like January, I think. And like, yeah, I'm around. I'm around.
Look at that.
Always on the social media too.
Yo, hell yeah. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.